I've spent hours digging into videos, podcasts, and scientific studies from top female health experts so you don't have to. And what I found? 6 powerful science-backed tips that will help you eat and even fast in a way that actually works for women's bodies. Many of these tips have been condensed from 2 powerhouses in this space, Dr. Stacy Sims, PhD in exercise physiology, nutrition scientist, and internationally recognized expert in women's health, and Dr. Mindy Pelz, the fasting guru for women who has helped thousands worldwide. Let's begin. Number 1, eat before exercise. Everyone has probably heard of the saying, if you exercise without eating first thing in the morning, your body will burn more fat and ta-da, weight loss. Well friends, while fasted training seems to work terrific for men, it is highly not recommended for active women. After 30 minutes after waking, we naturally get a spike in cortisol, aka the stress hormone. And despite social media painting cortisol as the bad guy, it's an essential hormone that helps you wake up, become alert, and get into that fight or flight mode. If you don't do anything to bring that cortisol down by having food, your body stays in a catabolic state, which is a state of breaking things down instead of building them up. For men, this is usually less of an issue. The male hypothalamus, a small but powerful control center in your brain, checks the blood, liver, and muscle for sugar, and if there's little to none, the male body goes, no problem, let's just get better at burning fat. Now let's compare that to women. When a woman doesn't eat and goes to exercise, it thinks, I should probably store and hold on to fat because fat is the preferred fuel I'm going to need later. You might think that's not fair, but it all comes down to the makeup of our muscle fibers. Usually, women's muscle fibers are more efficient at switching between carbs and fat for fuel, and also just using fat as fuel. But in the state of starvation, it is less efficient for women. On top of all that, women's brains are much more sensitive to blood sugar and food coming in. If the hypothalamus senses low blood glucose and no nutrients coming in, it goes into survival state. And one of the first things it goes for is muscle itself. So the simplest thing a woman can do is within 30 minutes of waking, have a little bit of food. Just enough to tell your hypothalamus, we're good, fuel is coming in, you don't need to break down muscle today. So how much and what should you eat? 15 grams of protein before resistance training and 15 grams of protein plus 30 grams of carbohydrates before cardio. And having protein improves post-exercise EPOC, meaning you burn fat afterwards for longer. I want to know fasted training can benefit certain populations. We'll discuss that more later in this video. If your goal is to build muscle, then eating before training is crucial. Number 2, eat breakfast. Want better sleep? Start by eating breakfast. Even if you're not training first thing in the morning, we want to dampen the cortisol response. Over time, eating early can bring down your baseline cortisol. And why does that matter? Because when cortisol is lower, your body can finally switch into parasympathetic mode, which is the rest and repair system you need for deep sleep. If cortisol is high all the time, we're stuck in the sympathetic mode, more alert and basically stuck in fight or flight. That's why deep reparative sleep feels impossible. And if you're under eating or skipping breakfast, your nighttime wake-ups might not be because you need to go to the bathroom, but because of low blood sugar. We want our circadian rhythm to be tuned to nature, aka eating during the day and not at night. Several studies show that skipping breakfast shifts the normal cortisol to the right, meaning you have high cortisol levels later during the day and at night, which is not ideal for sleep and appetite. The daily cortisol pattern was also flatter than normal, which has been linked to things like insulin resistance, belly fat, and high blood pressure. Number 3, eat after training. Let's talk about why the 30 to 45 minutes after your workout actually matters so much, especially for women. Right after exercise, your body is in a very specific state. Blood flow to the muscles is high, and your muscles are super ready to take in nutrients because it is more receptive to insulin. When proteins and carbs are consumed during this window, insulin acts like a key, opening the door for glucose to be sent into your muscles for energy and amino acids for repair. That's why this period is sometimes called the golden window. For men, that window stays open for a very long time, anywhere from 3 to 18 hours after exercise. For women, the window drops back to baseline much faster, often within 45 minutes after exercise. And here's the part most people don't realize. Recovery starts when food comes in. Until nutrients arrive, your body stays in breakdown mode. For most women, the goal is 25 to 30 grams of protein within about 30 to 45 minutes of finishing training, ideally paired with a small amount of carbs. The sex hormone progesterone increases muscle breakdown in women, especially during the luteal phase of our menstrual cycle. So you need more protein to protect your muscles, and studies show that exercising in a fed state followed by a post-exercise meal led to lower overall daily calorie intake, whereas exercising while fasted and skipping a post-workout meal increased hunger and causes your body
to burn fewer calories.
Number 4, time-restricted fasting. To fast or not to fast? That is the question. First, fasting is very different for men and women. Dr. Mindy Pelz even published a book named Fast Like a Girl, where she shares that women should fast differently depending on where they are in their menstrual cycle. Second, fasting isn't a one-size-fits-all rule. It's a tool and it should be used strategically depending on the person.
Though it's not usually recommended for active women,
Fasting can be beneficial for some women, like with obesity, PCOS, and postmenopausal women trying to lose weight. Fasting can be one tool of autophagy, aka cellular cleanup and repair, but note, exercise is also a very strong tool for autophagy as well. Third, fasting is about timing. Dr. Pelz says eat in the light, fast in the dark, while Dr. Sims emphasizes eating in alignment with your circadian rhythm.
basically both saying the same thing.
During the non-eating period, the body can be efficiently using up all your glucose and dropping some of those insulin levels. Most doctors don't recommend long fasting periods for women. We're talking a couple of days because they can induce a stressful state, which can lead to the storage of more visceral fat and cause increased inflammation and disturb hormones. Though Dr. Mindy does recommend longer fasts, she mentions that the most accessible fast that women can practice on a semi-regular basis is 13 to 15 hours, which would basically be eating from 8 a.m. and finishing eating around 5 to 7 p.m. Number 5, eat protein. The recommended dietary allowance of 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight is survival doses of protein, which was meant for preventing malnutrition and is definitely not for people who are active, wanting to build muscle, or older women. The ideal amount of protein is 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, and this is even if you're recreationally active. There was a study conducted on women who were skinny fat, normal BMI, high body fat percentage, and low muscle mass.
For 12 weeks, 2 groups ate the same amount of calories.
The only difference between the two groups was that the intervention group bumped their protein intake up to 1.6 grams, and after just 12 weeks, the intervention group had muscle quality up and body and visceral fat all down, all from just eating enough protein. Further studies also show that protein intake over 1.6 grams had the lowest frailty scores in older women. Hitting protein goals isn't just about muscle size or strength, it's also key for metabolic and hormonal health. Number 6, focus on gut health. One key feature of female gut health is the bidirectional relationship between hormones and the gut microbiome. Some gut bacteria, called estrobolome, make an enzyme called
glucuronidase.
This enzyme helps reactivate estrogen that your body has started to get rid of, allowing it to go back into your bloodstream and stay active. This recycling keeps estrogen levels balanced and active in the body. But when there is lower diversity, there are fewer of these helpful bacteria, so less estrogen stays active. Gut bacteria can either help protect against cancer or contribute to it by changing how cancer cells use energy and hormones. So what messes with your gut? Things like ultra-processed foods, low-fiber diets, these can all cause inflammation, which we really want to avoid. So what helps? Plant-based fiber. Fiber-rich foods feed your gut bacteria, keeping them strong and efficient. Alongside that, we want to have our probiotics and fermented food as well.